Chariot racing in ancient Rome was more than just a sport. It was a cultural phenomenon. The heart of Roman chariot racing was the Circus Maximus, a massive stadium located between the Palatine and Aventine Hills. The Circus Maximus could seat a staggering 250,000 spectators. A typical chariot race in Rome involved 4 to 6 chariots, each drawn by teams of horses. In Rome, it was possible to have as many as 24 races in one day. Modern estimates suggest that 700 to 800 horses were required for a day's racing. The stables were situated about 2 kilometers away in the Campus Martius. Horses, charioteers, and faction workers traveled from here into the Circus Maximus. The tracks at the circus were hazardous, with 7 laps and 13 sharp, tight turns. The race circuit was a thrilling 8 minutes long, with the chariots reaching possible speeds of 35 kilometers per hour and up to 72 kilometers per hour on the straight. The majority of horses used were stallions. These racehorses were bred on private and imperial stud farms in North Africa, Cappadocia, Sicily, Spain, and Thessaly. Racehorses were stocky in build and comparable to a large pony of the present day. Before a race began, a sacred procession with images of the gods paraded through the city street and ending in the Circus Maximus. The charioteers would remain in their chosen lanes until they reached the nearest end of the divider. After that, the chariots went to battle for the best positions on the track. In a team, the most important of the horses was the introigus, the lead horse on the left side of the chariot. It was this horse who guided the team around the turns. The charioteers wore protective clothing of thick leather helmets and thick tunics with leather-padded bands around their chests. They also wore trunks around their thighs. The chariot they drove was designed with small and light wheels to help stabilize it as it took sharp turns. The drivers wrapped the chariot reins around their waists to free their whip hands. They braced their whole bodies against the reins and steered the chariot by shifting their body weight, using the left hand only to correct their course on the track. The chariot drivers, with their reins tied fast about their waists, now increased the risk that if they fell from their standing position, they could be dragged by the chariot. The charioteer carried a knife to cut himself loose and save himself if he was taken down. Roman chariot racing wasn't just about individual glory. It was about team loyalty. 4 prominent factions dominated the sport: the Reds, Whites, Blues, and Greens. These teams inspired such fierce devotion that a loss for the Greens could plunge the entire city into mourning. Despite their death-defying feats, Roman charioteers held a surprisingly low social status. Many were slaves or foreigners and were even described as barbarians. However, skilled charioteers could become celebrities, with their victories celebrated by the crowds. Chariot racing was a brutal sport. Accidents were frequent, and charioteers faced the risk of serious injury or even death. They were in constant peril of death, not only from collisions but also from being dragged to their deaths by their horses. However, the rewards for victory were substantial. Winning charioteers could earn immense fame, fortune, and even social recognition despite their lower social standing.